Do you believe in the existence of extraterrestrials?
Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where and when you're watching this broadcast. I'm Thomas Fessler, my friends, and this is Disclosure Tonight. Happy Friday, November 29th, 2024. As we close out, getting close to closing out the month of November, as we head to talk about that thing, UFO disclosure, my friend. And boy, oh boy, what a week it's been with a lot of things going on. Not a lot of stuff going on in disclosure right now. We got Lou Elizondo in the United Kingdom right now. No connection. There's no connection going on to the drones and Lou being in United Kingdom right now. This is a planned vacation. So just want to set that out there so everybody knows there's no conspiracy going on that front. But on that note, let's go ahead and take a look and see who the heck we have out there in the audience. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff to talk about. Things going on in the UK. More than usual, my friends. On that note, let me find the drums. And let's welcome in our audience, see who the heck we have out there. Well, we got Andrea, Brian Morgan, Elmer Whitaker's around. These drums are really loud. There we go. Brian Morgan, Digger Dog, Elmer Whitaker, Eric Roth, and Agruz just popped in, along with Firefly, Jeff Peterson, Kathy, Kelly Broughton, those piercing blue eyes. We got Jan. Where'd you go, Jan? You're out there somewhere. I know that. Who else do we have out there? We've got King Bull, Liliana Chuna, Marcus Mandel, Neil Carr, Niles guys here, along with Paul DeMond, Peggy and her Southford, her friend. I think she's got 3. Steve, and Crockett and Tubbs. See, I never forget that. Reality Check VIPs around, along with Robert Vargas, Rough Reddy, Shelly Montgomery staying out of trouble because she's here in the audience. How about that? Super Unknowns around, along with Tamisha Bertrand from Squim. I think it's from Squim, isn't it? Yeah, I think so. Welcome, Tamisha. Good to see you, my friend. Tony D's around, along with 2 heads. 666. Hey, how about that? You love those numbers. It just goes together well, for some people at least. But on that note, it's not just talking about the friends we have in the chat. Sometimes, my friend, remember, follow that link to come in the back. On that note, let's go ahead and take a look and see who we've got in the back on our panel today. Well, coming to us all the way from Thailand. I could say it's a place to hang your Bangkok, but yeah, it is actually. Let's welcome Corporal Abe. How's it going, Abe?
Pretty good. Happy to see you. Good evening. Good night.
Great to have you here, my friend. Also, coming to us from the upper Midwest. Oh, let's welcome in our dear friend, Laura Campbell. How's it going, Laura?
It's going great, Thomas. Nice to be here. I hope everybody had a nice Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah. Nice turkey day for all of us Twinkies out there, I tell you. Did you have a good one as well?
I did. I wondered how many people asked the question to their relatives or discussed UAPs or UFOs and how it went.
Yeah. I think maybe the big topic this year would have been
election.
That's right. Gotta have fun with it. Thanks for coming in today, Laura. God, I was so much looking forward to saying something to my sister, Cindy, the one who got run over by a truck twice in a row. The front back tires and then the Bobcat, because she deserved it, yeah. She is a true blue dem out of Kenosha, Wisconsin. And all I had to do was had to say one word about it, and I know she would have been pissed off and hung up the phone. I was looking forward to that so much. I know. What are you going to do? You got to have fun with it. Who else do we have in the back? Let's take a look and see. Well, he just popped in all the way from the United Kingdom. Our star of the show. Let's welcome Andy W. How's it going, Andy?
Hi, Thomas. Literally just rushed in the door. Couldn't miss this one tonight.
I know, especially it's in your home. Well, kind of close to your hometown. A lot closer than anyone else here, but yeah.
Yeah, about 40 miles the closest one, I think.
Yeah. We're going to have a fun time. We're going to do a deep dive and actually talk about what the hell is the United States and the United Kingdom doing at these bases. Because, Andy, that is the biggest thing. I've looked at so many articles. Why aren't they talking about the operations that are going on at these locations? Potentially, what could be attracting these things? Because, Andy, it's not just happening in the United Kingdom. It's actually happening worldwide.
It looks like it, doesn't it? It's getting interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait to talk to you about that during the show. Who else we have in the back? Let's take a look and see. Well, we've got our man coming from the country where all the users silent. Let's welcome in our very own Michael Sokoloff. How's it going, Michael?
It's going good, Thomas. It's going to be a good show tonight.
Oh, I certainly hope so. I certainly hope so. We got to wonder what happened to Tia today. Usually she's always around. Well, although Tia's not here, we've got Laura, but one of our another dear lady friends we have here is Ms. Cussout. How's it going, Ms. Cussout?
It's going great. I'm recuperating from all the cooking I did yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, for 15 people.
Yeah, we had 2 here and 3 dogs, but based on the 20-pound turkey we cooked and all the other stuff we've created, we probably could have fed 15.
Yeah, you could have.
Yeah, when it comes down to Thanksgiving and you pick a turkey size, there's one size I go for, the biggest they have.
Exactly.
Actually.
It was really good. It turned out really good. No family fights or anything, so
Yeah.
it was successful.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for coming in today, my dear lady.
Thank you for having the show.
Yeah, thank you very much. Also coming to us from the great state of Oregon, let's welcome in our friend Neil Carr. How's it going, Neil?
Hey, Thomas. I'm still here.
Yeah, excellent. Same pink shirt too.
Yeah, I got 2 weeks to go, and I'll make it to 54.
There you go. Well, I've already beat you there a couple of years ago, 2.5 years ago. So.
Yeah, but I'm loving my 50s. Like, for the most part, being over 50 is awesome. Truly.
Wow. What I would do to be 38 again for the rest of my life. That's before our bodies start breaking down.
That's kind of hard, but well, I don't know. I mean, I've been enjoying some parts of my 50s. It's been a blast. But
excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for coming in today, Neil. Also coming to us, turn the world upside down and shake it like a snow globe. Who pops out next? No, I could say it's none of your business, but it's actually Susan Ford. How's it going?
Deliriously well. Thomas, happy Turkey Day to all my American friends.
Yeah. Well, day after Turkey Day, but close enough. It's Black Friday.
Yeah. Well, you didn't have the show yesterday, so
that's true.
I can't say yes.
I know. What am I gonna,
so what is going on over there?
We'll get to it. Should be a good one. There's a bunch of stuff going on, but we're going to talk about it, those bases and all of them and figure out, let's try and connect the dots literally and see what's going on. Look at some pictures and try and figure it out.
It's actually made the news here, so,
Yeah. It's an amazing thing because I think the only place they cover up, UFOs, actually, they cover it up the most in United Kingdom because they actually have shows about UFOs on News 7 on a regular basis where Ross Coulthard is from. And they actually talk about it in Australia. They do a good job of covering UFOs sometimes, but great to see that it's in the headlines there. Let's turn our world back around and let's focus on Southern California, the place you ought to be. Our dear friend FaZe Will is here. How's it going, Will?
Hello, my friend. Good to be here. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you, too, as well. Would you look at that? I missed it when we were getting things started. We got a super chat coming in from Daryl. How about that? Daryl's kicking off. The super chats tonight, yeah, that's right. $20 are coming into the Disclosure tonight. And remember, every dollar that comes into Disclosure tonight goes back into our production fund. Man, Daryl, I am so thankful and humbled by your love and support and ongoing support of Disclosure tonight. Thank you very much, sir. Happy Black Friday. Hopefully you got something really good for you. And then we got one last person who I want to go ahead and welcome in. Let's welcome in our dear friend, Sarah. How's it going? How's it pouring, my friend?
What's up, Thomas? I look forward to talking about these incursions, man. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it should be a good one.
Oh, man. It's definitely going to be a good one.
It should be a good one, and I could go ahead and play the song and say, Mike, welcome, Mike. But Mike's not here, man. I think Mike's off doing family shopping, Black Friday, needs a new 85-inch television set. Just got a new iPhone 16 Pro. He's sporting a good Black Friday for him today. Hopefully everybody out there got something for your own Christmas stocking this year. But we'll figure it out as we get there. All right. Today, we're talking about, well, UFOs. More importantly, we're talking about UFOs that have been showing up in the United Kingdom. But before we get this started, there are ongoing sightings and events, not just happening in the UK. It came out earlier today from Tim McMillan from The Debrief that there's actually multiple incursions going on in Germany on a nightly basis. And for that matter, there have been over 600 incursions or nights of incursions that have been going on that have been recorded by the DoD worldwide in 2024. So it looks like it's the thing that's going on. And as we're getting closer and closer to the fun box erupting in Ukraine, it's getting a bit more intense. So before we get there, let's go ahead and let's take a look on the map of the United Kingdom and figure out where in the world is Carmen Sandiego. Now, where in the world are we looking at here for all these events that are happening? So if we go ahead and bring up the big board here, document, let's go ahead and do this. If we go ahead and let's go document, where's it at? Solo. This will work. This will work. All right, let's take a look at this document up here. Not that. Let me go ahead, take down that super chat. Thanks again, Daryl. Okay, so what we're talking about here is we've got some UFO incursions. It could be UAP, but there actually was a recording that came out today from F-15 pilots. It's either F-15 or one of the Yankees who are flying over the lower part of the United Kingdom where we got some hearts down here to go and peg it off. Yeah, pilots have started calling things not UAS, not drones, but they're actually referring to them now as UAP. I mean, not UAP, period. Yeah, good old UFOs. So, yeah, there's been a lot of videos, a lot of conflicting information coming out. For instance, there was one video, if I can go ahead and bring it up, it's just going to show some dots moving around, where it showed that off in the distance, you had an F-15 that was coming in, and then as the F-15 approached, there was a drone that looked like all of a sudden it just took off and shot off to the side. Difference is, you've got an F-15 going at about 10,000 feet. You've got a drone about 2,000 feet. There's a bit of a difference going on. So when this is coming this way and this is taking off, this is going to appear, the drone or whatever it is, to be a lot faster than it actually is in comparison to the other craft. But anyway, let's get into here. Let's go ahead and take a look. We've got 3 bases here. We have RAF Feltwell, RAF Lankenheath, and RAF Mindhall. So what I want to do first is let's go ahead, take a look at these 3 bases that are in the United Kingdom, and let's figure out what the heck is going on there, because there's got to be something. Put a window projector up here so I can watch myself up there. There's got to be something going on at these bases that are attracting these drones to figure out what's going on. So we're going to go from the north to the south. The first one we're going to get into is RAF Feltwell. Well, if we go ahead and take a look on the map of, let's get back to RAF Feltwell. First of all, only thing we're seeing for a photo here is just a photo. So this one is probably the most classified location out of all of them, because there are no pictures of anything going on here. But that picture we just saw there, that was over at the guard tower, or the guard building right over here, right to the side of the base. Now, if we go ahead and take a look over up at the base, what do we have here, folks? Well, it looks like we've got some domes, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you know what's inside those? Radar, satellite dishes. And you got a big old satellite dish right here that's got some shielding around it to help people from seeing it from the sides. So we've got some kind of a radar or surveillance station at that location. So let me get and find out specifically what's going on here at RAF Feltwell. RAF Feltwell located in, I'll bring it up, the description. I'll just bring it up here. Here we go. Located in Norfolk, England, serves as a multifaceted facility for the United States government, primarily supporting the U.S. Air Force and U.S. Space Force. So what are they doing here? First thing they're doing, Space Intelligence and Surveillance. Well, this is run by the 73rd Intelligence, Surveillance, and Reconnaissance Squadron, Detachment 4, that operates out of RAF Feltwell. This unit executes space-centric intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance missions, supporting acquisition development and combat command operations. So we've got them going, and space-centric intelligence and surveillance. Well, we could kind of say that probably has to deal with satellites that they're doing uplinks to. Potentially they're doing some reconnaissance maybe, or just watching what's going on. But Space Force, eyes in the sky, keeping an eye on what's going on around in the area. Next, they also have in the area besides this, base housing, including a gym, including a playground, and they even have a veterinary clinic. How about that? So this is where a bunch of the different people, this is housing. It's a housing estate for U.S. Air Force and Space Force personnel stationed at nearby RAF Lakenheath and RAF Mindenhall. It also hosts...
I'll help you there, Thomas.
Thank you.
I'll help you. It's Mildenhall.
Mildenhall. Thank you. Mildenhall. Thank you. It also hosts the Matthews Airman Leadership School and provides educational facilities, including a middle school for dependents of U.S. military personnel. They also have logistics for housing and retail establishments like the base shops to go ahead and get all your particular needs and everything else that's out there. So that's what we've got going on in here. So if there are drone incursions, primarily it's to put their spies in the eye on what we're actually going on at these operations. And potentially, if there are craft that are going on in this area, I would say that it's safe to say that whatever is going and perusing or doing incursions on this base is leveraging some sort of signals intelligence, Andy. That would be that where am I at on this document? That's where they're going and specifically trying to intercept communications, find out what people are doing on the base. Again, these drones that are moving, they're I think they're like 1,000 to 2,000 feet up in the air. So it's not like they're close down to the ground. Some places they are skirting along the tree lines, but in other areas, when they get closer to the bases, they're going a good ways up in the air, Andy.
I've seen potentially up to 5,500 feet, which is not your average, hobbyist drone.
No, definitely not. And plus, if these were hobbyist drones, don't you think that didn't the United Kingdom go ahead and deploy like 60 soldiers to go ahead and try to deal with some of these incursions that are going on?
Yeah.
And I'm sure they would have the latest state-of-the-art equipment to try and bring these drones down.
Yeah, you'd think that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So far, I've not heard of any arrests or anything.
No.
Anybody had been apprehended or anything, or any drones actually being recovered.
Yep. Now, interesting things with the drones going on right now, the F-15s and F-35s and all the other a lot of the air traffic that's going around these bases, they're actually flying dark at night now for some reason. Yeah. So no running lights, no nothing. They're flying basically following their other sensors and not probably alerting people to actually where the planes could be if they're using visual observations to try and figure it out. So maybe that'll allow them.
They're also under NOTAM at the moment.
What's that?
So I believe that they can fly without lights, which is exceedingly unusual, especially over the British mainland.
Yeah. That's not a usual operation, I would say, that most parts of our government would be doing, flying in potentially commercial airspace over residential areas.
100%.
Yeah. All right. So that takes RAF Feltwell out of the occasion. Now, if we go back onto the map, go down to the south, let's go to our next one, which is RAF Lakenheath. You can see on this one, we've got a regular airport going on, and you can see we've got, looks like some refueling jets. They also have a bunch of hangars on here for F-15s, F-35 F-35s, and you name it. So RAF Lakenheath, located in Suffolk, England, is a pivotal U.S. Air Force installation in Europe, housing the 48th Fighter Wing, also known as the Liberty Wing. The base's primary operations include, number one, air superiority. Well, with runways like this, you got to get to it. Yes, the air superiority and precision strike missions. The 48th Wing operates advanced aircraft such as the F-15C/D Eagle, the F-15E Strike Eagle, and F-35A Lightning II. These aircraft are capable of executing air superiority, interdiction, and precision strike missions, supporting U.S. European Command, U.S. EUCOM, U.S. Africa Command, which is U.S. AFRICOM, and NATO operations. Now, they also have training and readiness. RAF Lakenheath serves as a critical training hub, offering extensive airspace and facilities for joint exercises and readiness programs. The base's infrastructure supports both comprehensive training for both U.S. and allied forces, enhancing interoperability and combat preparedness. They also have medical support services and healthcare services for supporting over 35,000 people, including personnel from the 48th Fighter Wing, the 100th Air Fueling Wing. That's where they had the refueling jets that were up around when they were going ahead and chasing them down over last Saturday. The 501st Combat Support Wing and the 352nd Special Operations Wing. These services ensure the well-being and operational readiness of military members and their families. So, recapping, RAF Lakenheath, where there have been a number of drones seen over, this is their precision strike. This is where they have all their fighter jets and everything going on. Now, between us, Andy, if there were potentially nuclear capabilities that would be delivered by F-35, which an F-35 can deliver nuclear capabilities, this would be a potential location, since the United States announced it about 2 weeks ago that they were moving nuclear ordinances to the United Kingdom, to Lakenheath specifically. So UFOs, do they like nuclear ordinances? Oh, heck yes. Did we have a bunch of nuclear ordinances not that long ago over in the United States? At Langley? Yes. Is there a chance that there was nuclear ordinances at Langley before they were brought over here? Well, yes, of course. You know, if we wanted pretty much find the canary in the coal mine, the one that actually usually likes to hang out wherever there's nuclear things going on, that would be this space. But it's interesting. It's not just this space. It's Mildenhall. Mildenhall.
Yeah.
Like mildew, but Milden. Milden. I'll get it right eventually. Now, well, I guess potentially if UAP are being surveilled on and there's something there potentially involved in the surveillance, they would potentially want to be performing some kind of intelligence on that operation. Now, remember, the U.S. Air Force has the ability to see anything the size of a grapefruit or larger coming from the surface of the planet out to beyond the moon. And that's in real time, but they can also roll back in time to see where this stuff came from, and more importantly, Andy, where this stuff is going to when it's completed, which this has been going on. When did this start? Last Wednesday? Thursday?
Wednesday, yeah. It's been about a week now. And I believe it's every night, and it's still ongoing.
It's going on. And I've actually, as I've been seeing some of the news briefs, actually saying, should I turn on? Should we go talk about this? We'll just wait a little bit longer to get this there. But yeah, this is an active situation. It's evolving. There's a whole bunch of tweets and things we'll go through next. But first thing I wanted to do was educate our audience on what's going on these bases. Now, we've got one more base we need to go check out here.
We have one after that as well. I'll mention in a minute.
We actually have one more besides this one. But it's a base that's operated by the RAF, not by the Yanks.
Oh, there may be another one as well.
Ooh, yeah, I think it's off to the west here. We'll have to get to that one. I saw it on the maps, but I didn't grab it. Let's check out this next one. Actually, yes, the first one we looked at was Feltwell. Now we're looking at Lankin Heath, and now we're going to go down to Mildwell. Oh, Mildenhall, not Mildenwell. Jesus Christ.
We'll get you there, don't worry.
RAF Mildenhall. RAF Mildenhall. What do we... Well, if you ask me, that looks like a really long runway. And generally where there's really long runways, oh, would you look at that? You got a bunch of bombers there, potentially. And big places to park
those
them.
Are Hercules.
Yeah.
So those are transport planes.
Yeah.
In the first bit.
Oh God, which are the ones that have the wings like a helicopter?
Ospreys.
Which Ospreys?
V-22 Ospreys.
Yep, and the Ospreys were actually been around following around the drones either way. So we've got larger jets, non-traditional craft here, not just fighter jets. But let's get into the description of what's going on at Mildenhall. Lake Heath, we're almost there. All right. RAF Mildenhall is situated in Suffolk, England, and is a key U.S. Air Force installation that supports a diverse range of operations. The primary missions conducted at the base includes 1. Aerial refueling operations. The 100th Air Refueling Wing, or 100 ARW, is stationed at RAF Mildenhall, providing critical air fueling capabilities to U.S. and allied aircraft across Europe and Africa. This enhances the operational reach and endurance of combat and support missions. Well, there's also Special Ops that go on there. The 352nd Special Ops Wing is also based at RAF Mildenhall. This unit conducts specialized missions including infiltration, exfiltration, and resupply of special operation forces, as well as precision strike and intelligence gathering. So, these are the guys they're going to put out in the field before anyone else comes in, special ops, to go ahead and get out there and guide in the lasered missiles to tell them where to go ahead and hit. Interesting. These operations underscore RAF Mildenhall's strategic importance in supporting U.S. and allied missions across Europe and Africa. So if we take a look at that, so we've got one base that's dedicated to special ops. That's why they probably have the Ospreys, be able to fly, drop down, get the commandos out, do their job, and get the heck out, drop them off so they can get back to safety, plus air refueling. So it's a decent-sized base. So we've got one base for refueling and special ops. We have another base that's dealing with tactical fighters, could potentially where your F-35s and our nukes could be. And then we have the other one, which is a space surveillance. Now, you had said there's another one here, Andy.
Yes, there's another one that's potentially had incursions, and that's more in my part of the world. It's called RAF Fairford. And that's where when...
F-A-I-R-F-O-R-D?
Yeah, F-A-I-R-F-O-R-D.
Okay.
And it's in a county you're going to really struggle with.
It's okay, I'll let you say it. Go ahead, Andy. You can say it.
It's in Gloucestershire.
Gloucestershire. I can say that.
Yeah.
Not Gloucestershire.
Or Gloucestershire. Yeah.
Like
one of the counties
it's
that
like,
Americans
it's
really
like Worcestershire, but it's Gloucestershire.
Yeah.
There you go. So what is going on at RAF Fairford? Would you look at that? That is another single long runway. Let's see what they've got going on there. Located in Gloucestershire, England, it serves as a pivotal installation for both the U.S. Air Force and Royal Air Force. Well, they work in tandem with each other. How about that? Supporting a variety of strategic operations. One, we have strategic bomber operations as a USAF sole European airfield for heavy bombers. Oh, that'd be like the B-2 or the B-52s, right?
Yeah. They flew out of Fairford, the B-52s, when they attacked Iraq.
Yeah.
On the First and Second Gulf Wars.
Yep. Now, coming in, let me do that back. There we go. Coming in as a descriptions, that's exactly what it's for. RAF Fairford routinely hosts deployments of the B-52 Stratoforces, the B-1 Lancer, and the B-2 Bomber Spirit aircraft. These deployments, known as Bomber Task Forces or BTF missions, facilitate integration with NATO allies and demonstrates the U.S. commitment to collective security. For instance, on May 2024, B-52s from the 5th Bomb Wing were also deployed to Fairford, BTF Europe 24-3, engaging in training missions across Europe and North Africa. Well, they also handle intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance missions. Since September 2019, RAF Fairford has hosted a detachment of the U-2S Dragon Lady reconnaissance aircraft from the 99th Expeditionary Reconnaissance Squadron. These high-altitude ISR missions support U.S. and NATO objectives, providing critical intelligence across the European theater. Seeing our bombers there, like the B-2s and the B-52s, yeah, there's a possibility for nukes being at these locations too, Andy. Let me move in.
Potentially, yes.
Now, believe it or not, they actually have unmanned aerial systems or UAS operations out of this base. In August 2024, RAF Fairford facilitated the first landing of a U.S. RQ-4 Global Hawk in the United Kingdom, making a significant advancement of UAS operations from the base. We're talking about drones here like that are the size of a small plane, I believe. These things are not... These are not commercial. I mean, these are just like military grade, jet engine. Get the hell out of my way. I'm going someplace. This deployment underscores Fairford's expanding role in accommodating advanced unmanned platforms, while they also have a counter unmanned aerial systems measures in response to unauthorized drone activities near U.S. bases, including Fairford. The British troops have deployed to operate sophisticated C-UAS technology. Apparently, it's not working that well, though, Andy. The Orca system, for example, detects, tracks, and neutralizes drone threats, ensuring the security of personnel and assets. Well, guess what? It doesn't work. Apparently. Yeah. You have to go back to the drawing board on that one. Royal International
I have to say that.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that actually Fairford is only about 40 miles away from me, from where I am at the moment. So
40 or 14?
It's quite close. 40.
40. Gotcha.
40.
That's not too far away, yeah. About 70 clicks, give or take. All right. What else do they have going on there? This is something interesting. It's called the Royal International Air Tattoo. A riot. It's a riot, friends. The RAF Fairford annually hosts Riot, one of the world's largest military air shows. This event showcases a wide array of military aircraft and fosters international cooperation and public engagement. How about that? So, there's another reason why I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I add...
Can I kick in on that, Thomas?
Sure, please do.
I'll just say that actually the image that you're showing was actually taken when they were holding the International Air Tattoo. If you zoom in, there's a lot of big planes. You'll see an awful lot of cars. But I've been many years ago. It's a really great air show.
Yeah. You got helicopters, you got a
So-
bunch of bombers, you got big ones, you got small ones, you have commercial airliners, you got bunches of helicopters, you got some fighter jets coming in here. Oh, what else? Wow, look at that. They
Got your
some...
favorite planes on one end as well, the red arrows as well. So
oh yeah, there we
they're
go.
there as well.
Yeah, the red arrows do attract UAP.
Yeah.
We know that one for a fact. So, there's the red arrows right down there. There we go.
Yeah.
Nice. How about that? How about that? So, yeah, interesting. You know, I would definitely class these as hot spots, and they're Force Fair Forward. I just want to go ahead and make sure this has been saved. No, not save it. Oh, come on. I want to click on this. I want to save it to my favorites. There we go. So if we now zoom out a little bit, we get an idea of where we're at. So big map. We've got off on the east coast of the United Kingdom, which if you were to have any of these drones coming in from the ocean, like being launched by something in the ocean, they're about 50 or so miles as the crow flies, or as the drone or UAP would fly to get to the ocean. And that would be if there was an incursion actually coming from the ocean and not actors on the ground. If we're taking a look over at RAF Fairford, I'd probably say it's about the same distance from RAF Fairford to, what is this? The Bristol Channel. Then we is going from, let's say, Feltwell over here to the ocean. Maybe a little bit farther, but either way. Now, there is one more base that was reported later today where there is more activity going on. And this is RAF Marham. What's going at RAF Marham? Let's take a look at some photos. Well, it looks like to me they've got some more. There we go. Fighter jets going on at that location. Looks like some older ones, F-35s and newer ones. So let me get to this one, RAF Marham. Let me ask my thing here. What about RAF? Let's get rid of that picture here. Go back to where I was at. Oh gosh, no. Let's go back to here, RAF Marham. Let's get into here. Let's turn it back on a satellite again. Let's get in close to RAF Marham. And boy, this one looks like it's a bit more active than the other ones, Andy. This one has got a ton of small runways, a lot of buildings, and a lot of things going on. Let's see what's going on at RAF Marham. They could be interesting to the non-human intelligence and drones, or potentially these could be UAS from Russia or China or something to that degree, or even Iran, probably not. But there's also a high chance, as they were described by earlier today, they were described by a U.S. air operations personnel as a UAP. So RAF Marham, located in Norfolk, is a key Royal Air Force base known for housing advanced aerial combat operations and supporting the United Kingdom's strategic defense initiatives. The primary roles include: 1, home of the F-35B Lightning II, RAF Marham, is the main operations base for the UK's fleet of F-35B Lightning II aircraft, a 5th-generation stealth multi-role fighter. There's also squadrons that we have there of the F-35s. One is the 617 Squadron, also known as the Dam Busters, focuses on frontline combat missions. Also, we have number 207 Squadron, which serves as operational, see if we can find anything on here, operational conversion unit, training pilots and crew of the F-35B. We also have the 809 Naval Air Squadron. This Royal Navy squadron operates F-35Bs to integrate with the UK's Carrier Strike Group, deployed on the HMS Queen Elizabeth and HMS Prince of Wales. What else do they have going on here? They have joint air-navy operations. The base plays a vital role in the carrier's strike group concept, where the F-35B's short takeoff and vertical landing capabilities enable deployment from aircraft carriers. Training and operations integration also takes place with naval forces, enhance the UK's air and maritime defense synergy. What else they've got going on there? They have plenty of training and exercises and support for global deployments. They also have maintenance and development. RAF Marham is equipped with state-of-the-art facilities for the maintenance of F-35Bs, including specialized hangars and a centralized logistics hub. The base collaborates with defense contractors like Northrop and Lockheed for the operational efficiency of the F-35 fleet. Now, historical significance before the transition to the F-35. RAF Marham was a significant base for Tornado G4 squadrons. Those are old ones. Didn't they use those in the Gulf War in Libya, Andy? We lost your mic, your audio. Sounds like first word. No, your audio's not coming across, Andy, just so you know. All right. You know that. All right, let's move on. Let's see what else we've got going on. He'll be right back. Also, strategic importance. RAF Marham is a cornerstone of the UK's air power, contributing to both the national defense and NATO's collective security initiatives. Ties back to Ukraine, my friend. In combination of advanced aircraft, joint operational capabilities, and maintenance infrastructure cements its role in modern military aviation. So clearly what we've got going on here are a number of bases that are all tied to state-of-the-art air combat and surveillance and support. Not only that, the ability to handle stuff for counterintelligence, for going ahead and dropping off people behind enemy lines to go ahead and handle sightings. Man, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on, not necessarily all just tied to potentially points of interest for UAP, but at these days, you never know. Did your microphone come back working, Andy?
Is it working? There we go.
We've got you. We've got you.
Yeah, yes, you're correct. They did use a tornado in the Gulf Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a low-level attack, really low level.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Wait, we got a couple super chats in here I got to address really quick. We got one from Anonymous Rex saying UAP activity ramping up, and we all have front row seats. That's right, Tim. Thank you very much for that wonderful super chat. Thank you very much. Love it. Phase Will, another ongoing super chat. Thank you very much, Will. Like, share, and subscribe, please. Number one, Disclosure Tonight. Thank you very, our number Disclosure Tonight one. How about that? Thank you very much, Phase Will, for $20. Wow. Thank you very much, everybody. Love your ongoing support of everything we do here at Disclosure Tonight. What a great month it is. All right. Now, I guess after going through all these different things here, Andy, it gives us a good idea of what's going on in the UK. And I don't think we've seen a comprehensive overview of these bases or what's going on in the bases. And I'd say a majority of the reporting that I've read out there on this subject so far.
Yeah, there's the odd bit of information about it. It's been on my MSN homepage on the internet. There's, as far as I know, I don't watch the mainstream news. Whether it's been covered on that or not, I don't know. I know the Sky News had about it the other day. But again, the main person who's seems to be cheerleading it is Chris Sharp.
Yeah.
He's been doing some stellar work.
Oh, speaking of Chris Sharp, yes, I do have a link to his Twitter feed here. He's been covering a lot of great stuff. Actually, I think I saw him at some of the disclosure gatherings that have been happening all over the United Kingdom with Elizondo coming. Yeah, if I would have known he was going to be there earlier, Andy, I would have possibly arranged to see if he could find time to get there and meet him, my friend.
Yeah. Another day. Hopefully he'll be back to do a proper, to his talks.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Now, there are some videos. So I want to go ahead here and copy link address. Let's see if I can download it here. Some schmucks have called this out as, oh, look, it's a TR-3B. No, it's not a TR-3B. It's a drone that has 3 lights on it. One of them that is red on a corner. Remember, if there is something as such as a TR-3B, you're going to be digging in Greer's closet to find that one, my friends. Let me go ahead and bring this up here. But what we do have is we do have a video that is that it was finally recorded with something decent, meaning there was actually a decent optical or optics for going and grabbing this one. Now, this one is coming down from, oh, Jesus. See if I can get into here. Little did I know, the video that they've got here goes on for over 2 hours. So probably not going to be easy to be able to get to the spot where they've got. Here we go. I got it. I found it. How about that? Better than I thought. Amazing when you can scrub through a video really fast. So what are we seeing here? Oh, no. Rats, hold on. I need to charge my... That's what happens when your touchpad gives you a warning that says it needs to be charged and you don't pay attention to it. Give me a minute. I should be able to have this thing up and going again and useful, but it just has to charge for a little bit. There we go. It's back already. Let's go ahead and get to this here. Bring this around. Let me go ahead and bring up the document. Here we go, Andy. So what we've got is we've got something. If I go ahead and zoom out, it's up in the sky. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's a frog. No, it's potentially a drone. But you can see this thing, if I play it back at real time, you can see it's something that's floating around in the sky. It's got 3 lights, no flickering, no nothing going on, but it's definitely triangular in shape. Which it could be 4. If there's 1 light that's missing, it could be square. But in this particular one, yes. Wouldn't call it a TR-3B, because remember, if it's a TR-3B, potentially would have white on the corners and then a red one in the center. There you go. So if we zoom out a little bit on this video and do some more scrubbing, going all the way through it back and forth, you can see it's going over the overall base. Yeah, you know, again, we're going to be looking at little dots of lights. There it goes again. Flying around in the air at various instances. Here we go ahead and zoom in again. You can see it's the same craft, but again, it's not stabilized to a degree, and we're just going to see these things. So people are asking, are there any videos out there? Yes, there are videos, but you're not going to see a whole lot of anything, because we're basically seeing little lights that are flying around in the sky. Does that make sense, Andy?
Yeah, 100%. You know, you've got no perspective on distance of this object and size of it.
Correct.
You know, and what people need to remember, we've recently, last weekend, had Storm Bert pass through the UK. You know, I know here it was rather windy. You know, probably over the East Coast it was probably pretty windy. These objects were seen aloft in the storm as well. So, right. You know, I'm hedging on, you know, would you know, definitely a hobbyist drone wouldn't be up in winds like that.
No, not at all.
I would even say a commercial one would probably struggle.
No, we're talking about drones here that are beyond the reach of average consumers.
Yeah.
We're talking about high-end equipment that's more on the capabilities of what someone would have for a country not necessarily some hobbyists out there, especially a lot of hobbyists out there going and controlling all these particular drones that are happening.
It wasn't just one drone. There were several of these objects up at any one time. So
time and time again, yes, sir, that's correct.
Where they're coming from, where they're going to, when they've done whatever they're doing, I still don't know whether they know.
Yeah. We'll have to figure that out. Let's see. I just did find another video here. This is someone in the Lankin Heath area sent Christopher this video showing another alleged drone over the area right now. Let me go ahead and zoom in on this one here, see if we can get it to show up. Again, we've got a vertical image here. Let's get to document here. Let's bring this one out, bring it a little bit of across. So this one here, Andy, aligns with the last video we had just seen. Meaning we've got it where, oh, here we go. But now, not a little bit ago, you can see that we had the red light at the top here. Let me scroll this down a little bit with the two gray lights. Now, if we advance a little bit more, those gray lights, and that's what happens when you zoom in too much on a cell phone, are flashing green. So in this particular instance, or did that go just blue? So we've got red, we've got blue, we've got yellow, we've got purple. Back to that gray configuration again, going to red. There, you have two of them lighting up to white, with the right one going to yellow at this point, and then going to white, with this one getting a little bit brighter. We had the bottom left one turn to a greenish yellow as it's fading out. We got the red one coming back in, and you can see there's a regular... Oh, dang it. That's what happens when you're dealing with the phone so far away. Let me go ahead and bring this one a little bit smaller now. You'll be able to see it. It's down at the very bottom of the screen at this particular point. So, and I think this is about the end of it. So, corroborating video, except this one's a little bit more interesting. We've got that red right in the corner, but we're seeing other colors that are flashing as it's going on. Nathan Forrest asks, are any other aircraft have those colors? I can't actually answer on that one. Can you, Andy?
No, I believe I'm trying to visualize in my head. Normally, aircraft identification lights are red or white. I'm not sure if they use a green light for
yes,
different colors for either ends of the wings to differentiate left
right.
and right.
Right.
But
now,
yeah, that's not a normal layout of lights.
Right. Now, I believe Brian Pemble in the audience was saying, not sure if the UK has addressed this, but I believe the UK did address it. That's where they went and they sent in 60 specialists, probably from that one base that we were just talking about, RAF Marham, where they actually have military who are there and they specialize in anti-UAS operations. So... But beyond that, has there been any acknowledgement from the MOD? I don't think there has been. Have they denied, except saying they can't say anything about what's going on?
Basically, yeah, I've not heard anything.
Yeah. Well, I would say, they're saying, AJ's saying UA government, the worst censorship. No, I think they just have really strong censorship in a lot of different areas. And don't they have an ability to go ahead and tell the media that here are the topics you're not allowed to talk about today? Is what is a D notice or something like that, Andy?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. What is a D? Let me see if I can get an answer on this one. I think it was called the D notice. Okay. All right, here we go. This is important. A D notice. A D notice is for, I'll bring this up here, put it on the screen, share it with everybody. What the heck? Why not? Oh, don't do that. Let's get into here. A D notice. What the heck is a D notice? A D notice, now officially called a Defense and Security Media Advisory notice, is a formal request issued to the press. Hold on, let me get to the bottom of. Sorry about that. Delivered to the press by the UK Ministry of Defence. Its purpose is to discourage the publication of information that might harm national security. Although these notices are advisory and not legally binding, they rely on voluntary compliance by the media. Oh, voluntary compliance, is that like, oh, we don't want you to go ahead and post stuff on Facebook? Please don't do that, but we're going to knock on your door at 4 o'clock in the morning and haul your ass away and lock you up in jail because we let some nasty people out. There we go. Features of a D notice. Yeah, love to smile, Andy. It says everything. Features of a D notice. One is voluntary compliance. A D notice are not enforceable by the law, but the UK media generally adheres to them to avoid compromising national security. They are part of a cooperative arrangement between the government and the press. Issued by the DSMA Committee. The DSMA Committee is a joint government media body that manages the D-Notice system. It includes representatives of the MOD, intelligence agencies, and media organizations. What's the purpose? Well, it's not just for keeping everything quiet and not letting the truth out, but yeah, it is. It's to prevent the disclosure of sensitive information that could endanger lives, compromise military operations, or reveal intelligence methods and sources. Examples might include details about an ongoing military operations, like with these UAP, UAS, or drones, whatever they are. The location of sensitive facilities or the identities of covert operatives. Types of D notices. Well, what do they cover? Military operations, counterterrorism measures, which is kind of sounds like we're dealing with right now. Intelligence or counterintelligence activities, nuclear weapons. Right on that one, or facilities, and communication security or cyber defense. Well, there you go. In modern use, while still in use, the system has evolved to accommodate modern journalism, including online publications. The DSMA committee ensures that the advisory process balances the public right to know with legitimate security concerns. But in other words, what that says is, oh, where's it at? I've got some sound effects for this one.
We ain't found shit.
And that's about what they actually tell us about or don't tell us about. How about that? Brian, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, great to be here. Good show as always, and I really appreciate Andy's insight on what's going on in the UK right now. It's and not only there but here as well. But Andy's insight is really helpful, and so thank you, Andy.
My pleasure.
Yeah, gotta have some fun with this. Syrup, go ahead, my friend. You have your hand up.
Yeah, real quick, did they ever, other than that triangle, were they able to identify any of these drones as being
None of these drones have been identified as anything being of commercial, off-the-shelf variety that any rich person could go ahead and buy.
But were any of them, I seen a picture floating around. I don't know if there was truth to it or not, but they had this like blue sapphire looking one at an airport.
That's a completely different thing that happened in 2022, Syrup. So it was that's another site. That's something that took place at Manchester Airport. We'll cover that one tomorrow.
But none of these ones over the Air Force Base have been identified as like spherical or...
No, they haven't.
Okay.
They come out at night when the visibility is a little bit low. But now coming out of this, they're actually going now and running the F-35s or F-15s, whatever they've got in the air, the Ospreys. They're going ahead and flying with their running lights off. So if there are drone operators and trying to go ahead and control these things, this makes it a little bit harder if there are true drone operators out there to keep their drones out of the fire or out of the way potentially of jet fighters. But it's not like there's been any privilege granted to go ahead and shoot these things down from fighter jets because, my God, Andy, when's the last time they actually got into air combat over United Kingdom? World War II?
Yeah, World War II.
Yeah. But then again, we just had combat over the United States a year ago, and when was that?
February.
In February.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah, you in America have actually had air combat over your your nation.
Yeah.
Much sooner than we have.
Oh yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. Brian, you have your hand up, my friend.
Hey.
Yeah, just two quick notes. One, the Osprey, for those that are not familiar with that particular, I don't know if you want to call it a plane, but it's a plane and helicopter. So it can rotate its wings. It was actually developed down here where I'm at, and it crashed a bunch of times, but it's basically, it can act like a helicopter and then it can act like a plane. So it's really good for hot extractions, low level stuff.
Yeah.
Like jungles, it can land anywhere, but fly like a plane.
Right, but that pretty much tied to the operations they had going on at that base, where it's basically special operations. And I would probably say the Ospreys are probably reserved for special operations.
Oh, yes. I've got a good buddy, and he's an Osprey pilot, and he was involved in the retooling of these, and he's been to every place on the planet that you can imagine.
Yeah.
And he will not tell me. He will just tell me the continent that he was in. He will not tell me what he was doing.
Yeah.
Thomas, real quick, we know that our intelligence agencies know exactly what these things look like, right? Because they have sentient, and they can do that.
They have what?
How do you say it? Sentient?
Sentient?
Sentient.
Well,
Okay,
all sentient is, sentient doesn't give them special powers abilities. All it does is it ties together all the different surveillance systems we have to give an overview of it, and uses some levels of AI to go ahead and pull together and give them an overview of a battlefield and what's going on. Now, as I've said before, Syrup, and many times, our U.S. government, more importantly, our Air Force and Space Force, has the ability to detect objects from the size of a grapefruit and larger from the surface of the planet out to beyond the moon. So should they be able to identify where these things are coming from and where they're going to when they're done? Absolutely 100%. Now, my question is to you, Syrup. If we're looking at these craft that are going on, and this has been going on for about over a week now, if our government had the ability to figure out, say, this is where they're coming from, this is where they're going back to track them in real time, and have ground assets to go ahead and try and intercept the people or intercept the drones when they're coming in to land, absolutely they should have that capability. Now, have they leveraged it yet? No, which really brings into question if they have the capabilities to track these things coming in and going out. But they haven't been doing it. They haven't been bringing it together to an end. That would mean that potentially these craft go beyond the state-of-the-art capabilities of the U.S. Air Force and U.S. Space Force, which, if you ask me, doesn't that kind of create a hole in our national security that's saying, what did the Pentagon say? Oh, as far as we've seen so far, they're not a threat. What? Flying over our bases, potentially performing signals intelligence? They're saying it's not interrupting the capabilities of the bases. But come on, if you have drones that are flying over runways, are you going to go ahead and put an F-35 up or an F-15 up if there's craft above the runways? No, that it's blocking them. Or it could also potentially block them from coming back down again. So yes, clearly these are things that are going on that the United States government and the UK government has no facilities or the ability to go ahead and try and take these things down. Otherwise, if they did, they would have brought them down already. Brian, you have your hand up, my friend.
Yeah. Hey, Thomas, that is so well said. If we knew what these were, and this is why I was asking Andy in the chat earlier, has the British government come out and acknowledged this? And I think
I already answered that. Yes,
correct.
they have acknowledged it to the point where they've admitted that they are deploying their counter surveillance, their counter UAS team 60 people to go ahead and assist with these objects that are flying over the bases. But the reality is those things are still flying over the bases, Brian.
Yep, and you are exactly right, which means that they're helpless, but they
Yes.
can't come out and say that.
Of course they're not going to say they're helpless. They've said they've deployed people, but again, that is pretty much the only statement besides saying we're not saying anything else that the Ministry of Defense has said to date.
So I guess if we take it a step further, are we seeing a show of force, or are they just showing themselves a little more now? I mean, what's going on here? Why is this happening? And these would be interesting questions as a thought experiment to run through those.
Oh, let me bring out the Mr. Dictionary here. I need to go look up this one. Where did I put that at? Oh, did I shut that down already? Give me a second to bring this one up. I want to go ahead and define this. Okay. Well, what does a show of force mean? Well, demonstrative flyovers, meaning military aircraft flying over a specific area or near a potential adversary's location to signal presence and readiness. That sounds like a show of force of what's going on. That applies. Low altitude.
Yep, that sounds good.
Low altitude passes. Aircraft flying at low altitudes near hostile or contested areas to intimidate or send a warning. Well, that sounds correct. That's 2 for 2 so far. 3, large-scale exercises conducting highly visible Air Force drills involving multiple aircraft formations, etc., etc. It's over multiple bases, like 4 or 5 bases now. I'd say it's large-scale. Strategic deployments, temporarily basing advanced or numerous aircraft in a region to signal military commitment or readiness to respond. Maybe not that, but overall, I would say yes, Brian, 100%. What we're seeing currently in the United Kingdom is a show of force.
I would agree that we check all the boxes according to whatever you looked up in Merriam-Webster's dictionary version.
Oh gosh, no, ChatGPT. I use that one.
Okay, fine. But that also goes along with what Lou's been alluding to as well. I mean, this is 100% a show of force. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's a show of force, and what we've got going on here is an operation that's impeding the airspace without being able to be stopped by the United States government over our air bases.
Correct. And I know there's some hands in the back, and I'll let you get to them. But so I totally agree with you. I would just be curious is if this operation, I actually like that word better. Are we attempting to try and communicate with these? Is this their way of telling us, you know, we're here for peace, or we're here to, you know, knock all your munitions down, et cetera, et cetera. That's what I don't know. And that's why when there's a void of information that's coming from the governments, because one, they don't know, and they don't want to say they don't know. That really screws us as the public. And with that void of information, when we don't have that, we're left to speculate. And that's
where it's going to be for a while, because we've had these drone
Correct.
incursions going on, and the U.S. Air Force acts like, oh, don't worry about these things. Next question. That's about where they're at. Laura Campbell, you have your hand up, my dear lady.
Yeah, I know the Times of London had said that these attacks, they suspect it's Russia. They said they're hybrid attacks that are non-military form of warfare that can still be disruptive. And also, I decided to look into the history kind of who was arrested over some of these attacks. In the past, they ended around December 23rd of 2023. There was a drone being flown over Langley Air Force Base, and it was a student from China.
Yes, who flew back from Langley to California and tried to escape and fly out of the government, yes.
Fen Young Shi, yep.
Yeah.
And they got only 6 months in federal prison.
But
Maybe
actually,
they're flying some more.
he had a small DJI drone that ended up getting stuck in a tree that he couldn't get to. Now, that's a lot smaller in comparison to the Prius-sized drones that were coming in and flying over Langley. So I think he became the sacrificial lamb, saying, look, it's China. But a small drone versus a huge drone that's moving over 100 miles an hour, there's a big difference between the two.
And if you remember, a couple of weeks ago, I did remote view one of the drone incursions, and I said they were Russian before this all was coming out about Russia. So I'm going to look at some more and see, it could be a mixture still. And plus, you got to figure they're kind of working together, and it could be Russian buying some Chinese drones that are maybe a better deal since they're blasting through so many of them in Ukraine. 3 days ago?
Why don't we, since we're giving all that money to Ukraine, why don't we get some good drone anti-drones given to us so we can take down the United Kingdom and knock those drones out of the air with and see what the heck it is? Because if you look at who's fighting or who's leading the war in the drone war right now between against Ukraine and Russia, Ukraine has got an amazing drone force they've been using to supplant for lack of 100,000 additional soldiers that they need so badly that they're going to drop the age to go ahead and be drafted from 25 to 18.
That's what you have to do when you don't have fighting forces, humans. You have to just go to this new form of warfare.
Yeah. The Optimus robot from Tesla is not yet available. They should have called it the T-1000 or the T-something.
T-18.
Exactly. Andy, my friend, you have your hand up.
I want to bring up and remind people of an incident in 2019 in the United Kingdom over Heathrow Airport. Now, there was an incursion over a civilian airport, Heathrow. Now, a couple were arrested, but afterwards they were released without charge. I think they even claimed a lawsuit against wrongful arrest. Nobody's ever been arrested, or no drones have ever been found over that incident as well. So, the track record is not very good on, either apprehending potential perpetrators or any drones, if they're drones. I'm not saying they are. Yeah. So, the likelihood of anybody even being caught, if it is actually human-based, is quite low, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just one of the things you have to go ahead and take a look at and figure out, what are we dealing with? How can we get an answer on this? And I guess time will tell, but I guess it'll come down to eyes in the sky that are out there and people who are actually trying to uncover the truth and bring out the details on what's going on by, citizen journalism that's going on out there. Now, let me double check my notes of some of the conversations I had going on. So the stuff that was going on at Langley, clearly not quadcopters like the Chinese student who was basically arrested and charged and thrown in jail for 6 months. The Langley incident was a nightly swarming of events for 2 weeks. A single drone may be attributed to a single hobbyist, someone we're talking about, though a swarm lit it up and And Christmas, okay, yeah, we're not sure what it is, who could be doing this stuff at Langley. Yes, it does point that it could be coming down to Russia. Now, I mentioned earlier this year, actually coming from Tim McMillan of the Debrief, confirms that drone incursions over and into restricted air where do you call it? Sorry about that. I get rid of the stuff in the dogs here. Okay, incursions into bases is ubiquitous across Europe and the world, with congruent incursions going on in Germany, Italy, France, and others at this time. So there are bases all across the United States. I mean, not the United States, across Europe, including UK, that are getting hit by these things. It's interesting. NORAD International U.S. documented over 600 over domestic air bases. That's in the United States in 2024 alone. So over 600 incursions going on at U.S. bases. Now, we only heard about that stuff for Langley, went on for a couple weeks. So clearly these drones are happening, these incursions are happening on a regular basis. They're going on unabated. The United States military has no ability or capability to go ahead and stop these things, which is shows you it doesn't matter how many billions of dollars you spend on air defense. The simplest thing as smaller technology that's a little bit more nimble, maybe cheaper, can actually help knock over this big behemoth. Brian Pemble, go ahead.
Hey, Thomas, I think a good poll would be, do we think, or does the audience think that these incursions are us, that it's our technology, or do we think it's
okay? First of all, we're not doing blue. We're not doing blue on blue, so it's not going to be anything from the United States or any of our allies that are going on. We did have a poll on this on the last show, and I believe it was 68% of the audience believe that what we're dealing with was from UAP. We could hold that again.
So I apologize. Yeah.
Let's go ahead and have the poll again. Let's see where audience takes it. Let's go ahead and don't want to do that. Don't want to do that. Here, let's go to here. Let's go ahead and start a poll. UK incursions. UAP.
Yeah, because if it's us, I mean, this could be a breakaway civilization, a USAT program that nobody knows about. I mean, that's really what everybody's concerned about here.
Well, it could be anything, not just a breakaway human civilization. Correct. It could be a civilization of a non-human intelligence that came here from someplace else, but they've just been here for a long time. We'll find out. But either way, they're showing, I hate to say it, they're demonstrating air superiority over our own bases. Syrup, you have your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, do you know if there's been any other drone incursions in, say, like our adversaries countries like Russia or China? I know China, maybe was it like a year or two ago, they were claiming they had drone incursions. I'm wondering if Russia's had drone incursions and if anyone would know. Didn't they claim to shoot down a UAP? Maybe it was like a year ago or a year and a half ago.
Yeah, but that was someone else, some mayor from some location saying it was a UAP. But based on the imagery that came out, there was nothing that would say it was a UAP. I mean, plus we've seen videos recently of other UAPs being attempted to be shot down, and they were getting hit with ordnances, and there was absolutely no effect from them getting hit. They just were there. They didn't flinch.
Do you think that's this? I don't know if this would be the case. I'm just asking. Do you think that would be one of the reasons why they want to try to shoot these things down? Because if they failed to do so, it's a bad look.
Well, what happens if there's poison on board? What happens if there's nuclear material on board? They don't know what's on these things potentially. So anytime you're going to bring something down, you may bring it down, but you may end up paying the price when you bring it down.
True. Very true.
Everything here. Dogs are being dogs. What can I say? All right. Where was I at? Nope. Stay down, Moose. I'm going to get back to my footage here of what we're looking at here now. There's just a lot of speculation going on right now. I guess the drone activity usually occurs between 5 to 10 p.m. daily. From Christopher Sharp's understanding tonight, fighter jets switched off lights. We talked about that earlier. Locals can hear the engines, but they can also hear the sound of rotor drones without lights. So potentially there's actually UAS being brought up without lights that could be from the bases as well to try and go ahead and sneak up on the drones that are lit up to try and take them out of the air. So it sounds like there's a full, what do you want to call it? Battle for the air over these bases, I'd call it. So other news coming from Christopher Sharp, as we kind of mentioned, the UK Ministry of Defense is looking to kill this story. But meanwhile, there are local residents around the base who tell me they are worried. They know the bases are on high alert and can see the heightened police presence. So it's not just heightened by military police or by the activities that are going on. There's an increase in policing activities around the base. Are you surprised, Andy? How could they go ahead and take the police and dedicate them to try and figure out where these drones are coming from when there's so many people who have violated social media and Facebook?
No comment on that, but yeah, obviously the jurisdiction of around the air bases once it's off site is down to the British authorities. So yeah,
yes,
you know, it wouldn't be done seeing having American military personnel patrolling around the outskirts.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is down to our local law enforcement and obviously the British Army that they brought in. So yeah, the fact that they can actually pull them away from doing some of the stuff you've mentioned that I can't talk about because is neither here nor there. I leave that up to you guys out there.
Oh, wait a second. I forgot to bring out. I actually did start a survey. Let me get this out of here. Let me bring this on so we can focus on this. Shut this video down. We don't need this anymore. Let's bring it up and let's see where our survey is. All right. Hey Google, set a timer for 45 seconds.
Sure. 45 seconds. And we're starting now.
All right. Let's go ahead and do this, folks. I know we've got well over 250 people watching this broadcast right now. We're close enough to it at this point. I want to go actually 280 people watching the show. How about that? Let's go ahead and let's get our audience to go ahead and give us a vote. What do you think? Is it UAP or is it UAS drone humans currently with only 51 votes in? That's less than a sixth of our audience right now, folks. Come on, let's see if we can get this up to 70 votes at least before I go ahead and bring this to an end. 73% of our audience is saying it's UAP and it's going down. 29% is saying it's UAS drones, meaning it's the humans. So, you know, it's still a good 70-30, if you want to call it, split at this point, 73-27. We've got about 15 seconds left with 60 votes in. It was 57. We're up to 60, 72-28. I don't think this is going to change that much, Andy, on this note. I'm going to go ahead, take a screenshot of this one. Let's go ahead and bring it in. Let's go ahead and end the poll. And there is our final answer, folks. 71% of our audience said it's UAP. 29% of our audience is saying it's UAS or drones. Brian, are you surprised?
A little bit, yeah. But you know, if you were ever to do a follow-up poll, were those drones, that technology, was that derived from aliens? I think you get a higher percentage.
Well, 71% of the audience is saying it's related to UAP.
Yeah. So I think that's 100%.
If we were dealing with drones that were related more to UAP, well, they're calling it out as UAP, so it don't get more definitive than that.
Correct. And I think those on the other side that we've reversed that technology. We know how to do it. And
we haven't reverse engineered the technology. That's a bunch of hogwash, as my grandmother would say.
Oh, you don't think so?
Oh, hell no. Not even close.
So the TR-3Bs, which you're referring to earlier, you would say no.
No. Heck no. And if there is a TR-3B, I would possibly you could find the pilot of that would be DC Muscle Wolf himself. They have said, it's been said by a bunch of people, we lack the material science to create this stuff, period. We understand how some of it works, but we lack the material science to reproduce any of this stuff. And if that's the case, yes, we could potentially get chunks of craft and MacGyver it and strap it together and try and make a combination of our craft with some other stuff going along with it. But for us to actually create a reverse engineered craft by humanity that we're flying around, going out into the stars and back and everything, or etc., I would say that is so far beyond humanity. At least that's my own opinion. What are your thoughts, Brian?
Yeah, so I'm going to agree and disagree with you. I think what you say is 100% correct, that we lack the material sciences. I think that's been I mean, there's very few people that would say that we have the material sciences to create these things. But I think what's happened is that we may have recovered so much material from somewhere else that we've been able to cobble together one or two things here or there.
The only craft that we've actually heard of that makes sense, there was the craft that happened down in Texas, the Cash Landrum case, where it was like an 8-sided tetrahedron kind of a shape. And potentially we got one of a alien craft, but the power system we couldn't get going, so we hobbled it together with a dirty nuclear reactor, and it ended up being in trouble when they were transporting it from one base to the other, and the radiation actually went and ended up killing some civilians.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh at that. That's not funny, but yes, exactly right. But I think that we have obtained other materials. Do I have direct evidence? Can I show you the craft right here in my? No, I can't.
No.
But that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
That we've got the TR-3B maybe more of a myth than anything else, but I don't think that that's necessarily wrong. I think we've got stuff that we've put together and that we've been able to do from materials that we've recovered.
And if we have, we would never fly that over civilian locations. We would never use that in a blue-on-blue exercise, which means it would be us against our own people, especially without telling them up front.
Yeah, so when you look at the Nimitz and everything else, I mean, that's just insanity to think that that's us doing that.
Yeah.
I just don't think that that's the case.
Yeah.
So I do agree with you, but I do disagree with you in the fact that I think we've recovered some materials that we've been using on our behalf for our own benefit.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I do have a picture that illustrates some of the thoughts and how I feel about some of the claims about reverse engineering. I got to show this one. This has nothing to do with you, Brian, okay? This is just some of the craziness of what people out there are actually saying.
Oh, no, fire away.
I use this one on Twitter all the time. Oh, my God. All right. So,
well, Thomas, that's how I feel sometimes, too. Especially in the subject. And we're all in this together that it could be one thing one day, one thing another day, and you're trying to decipher what's true and what's not. And everybody's got to be aware of this, and you're worried about, disinfo agents and everything else, and you're trying to figure it out. Yeah. Absolutely.
In another update coming from Christopher Sharp, there was a NOTAM. I'm not sure what a NOTAM is. We'll figure that out later. For multiple military aircraft to operate without lights out of Lankenheath until December 4th. So apparently they don't think this stuff is going to be going away anytime soon, Brian.
Well, and that's what's always interesting about the phenomenon is that when these things show up, that they don't just disappear. And there's also been a lot of stories and everything of U.S. military showing up with certain screens. Okay, so imagine having an iPad, but it's like a screen and you can look up at the sky because they know for whatever reason, these things just hang around in those spots and they can spot them with these certain screens. Now, I don't know if that's detecting infrared. Lou Elizondo has always alluded to the infrared. But I think that's absolutely fascinating that they just hang out in the same spots for
But it's not just infrared. That's the thing. It's also stuff that is not visible in infrared. It's not visible in any of the visual light spectrum. The only way you can see it is with a camera that costs, they're only about $12,000, $14,000 new, maybe actually used, I believe. Pretty reasonably priced. for the average consumer out there. But they actually allow you to see down to negative 60 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's the only way you can see these things. So yes, there are craft out there that you can pick up in IR, but there are even craft, and that I'll have to bring out some more videos of this again that have been recorded up probably about 15 miles from where I'm at right now, when there's been airliners that are approaching Seattle-Tacoma International Airport and flying right behind the commercial airliners. In a short distance, you've got chevron-shaped UFOs and moving by themselves, but also chevron-shaped UFOs with orbs moving in exact lockstep tandem, following along jetliners, probably to go ahead and stay out of and stay in the radar footprint to allow them to be able to move around even more undetected. It's just, go ahead.
No, I didn't want to just single out infrared as the only source. You're 100% right. And just so the audience knows that Thomas is in possession of way more materials than we could ever imagine. He has a lot more scruples than I do. I'd be happy to release stuff, but Thomas is, always protects his sources and everything else. So, I know that you've got these videos.
Yeah. And I've showed them in the past. I just have to go ahead and find them and bring them up again and show them again. But
correct.
Yeah, there are some decent videos that show this stuff off, and it's undeniable what the heck it is that we're dealing with, because based on the temperature of the craft, imagine that. You can't see, you can't detect it, but the only way you can get it with infrared is just to be able to detect the temperature difference. So, and it's not even showing up on infrared.
No, and just like you said earlier, even in daylight, these things are lockstep with the aircraft. You're 100% right. I mean, we see them in dead daylight, and
yeah, but these you can't even see in daylight. You can see in them daylights. You can't see them at night. You can't see them on radar, but you can see them on a camera that can go down to negative 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Amazing. All right, Amiga Rules says NOTAM is a notice to airmen. Thank you very much for sharing that, Amiga Rules. I appreciate that little super chat coming in. All right. What else do we have going on here? Anything else new? Brian, go ahead.
All right, Thomas, one more thing, and I know that this is not your gig, and I know that you don't like it, but, John Stewart revealed who Victor was the other night. And I thought that's been a little pet project of mine. So whether or not anybody believes it or not, and I'm not saying that Thomas endorses this, but apparently he says that Stan Doyo he was Victor back in 1990, I believe.
Hold on, I need you guys. God, Andy, Brian, talk about something. I've got to deal with a dog who's got diarrhea and needs to go out now. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be messy.
So once again, Thomas is not endorsing this. This is kind of my little pet project with John, and I've talked to John about this for a long time. Well, not for a long time, but other enough. But he revealed who the person is that released the Victor alien interview back in the 90s. So anyways, I just wanted to reveal that here. And John does a lot of good work. He's a good person. Whether or not you believe the video or not, I really don't care. And I think that's up to you. I know that Thomas and Mike have their opinions, and they probably don't even want me talking about this, but it's good that he actually found the person that released the video. You don't have to agree with it or not.
Yeah, I missed that, but we can talk about it after the show, my friend. Let's see if there's any. Wait a minute, we got something here. Love the show, Thomas. Can't get here all the time, but I'm on Team Rewatch. $30 Australian, $30.99. Thank you very much, Eric Roth and the Gurus. How about that? Another one of our super fans coming in and giving us another super chat. Nick, you have your hand up, my friend.
Yes, I'd like. Do you believe that we could be at war with the NHI soon, Thomas? Because all these things are happening recently. It was pretty crazy. Like the events at the bases in the and in UK, and then it might be even more bases in the future.
We wouldn't last 30 seconds, let alone 10 seconds. Let's be honest.
I mean, Do you think that they don't want war, Thomas? Are they doing this
No,
because they
it's
want
not a
to
war. If it was a war, it'd be over instantly. We have no chance.
Do you think that they are appearing because they want to stop a war, Thomas? Do you believe that they want to stop war? That's why they're here?
No, I think they're here because they're not here to stop a war. They're here on this planet because they have their own agenda. We're just happen to be the ants that live on this agenda right now. Now, we may be part of their ant farm. Remember, Elizondo was called as a zoo. And I think even Gary Nolan's maybe said it's a farm. Either way, that means we're in pens, we're in cages. If it's a zoo, that means they want to protect us, potentially, hopefully not to feed the other animals. More importantly, if it's a farm, that has a lot of great connotations, I can tell you. Susan, actually, Neil Carr, you have your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, hey. So I've been watching your friend over at Cosmic Road here and there. I forget his name offhand. You know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Jack, yeah.
And he had mentioned something really interesting about there being this guy who developed this computer program that would analyze kind of like key buzzwords being spoken about, in media, social media, on the news and stuff. And that in 2009, this program predicted that this year, 39 days after Joe Rogan interviewed Trump, that there would be this kind of battle in the sky with between aliens versus aliens and aliens versus military, and which would be December 4th. And the interesting thing, if that's true, is that I don't know if that's how legitimate this is, but if that's true, Joe Rogan wasn't even doing his podcast in 2009 yet. He was still doing.
Yeah, I would
Did
have.
you hear that?
I would have. No, I don't believe it. Honestly.
Yeah.
It's a little too out there. It's a little too specific. I believe things may be coming from some remote viewers, but a computer program written a long time ago to potentially predict this stuff today. Laura, what are your thoughts on that?
The one I trust in is the remote viewing of this a couple years back, not that far, and it was by Dick Elgire's group. They did predict that there was going to be UFO disclosure movement happening more after the Joe Rogan interview with Trump. That was fascinating, and I had been waiting years to watch it happen. And then also we had Cliff High that had comparable information, and they got together on indicators. So that's the one I would not. There wasn't anything about December 4th all-out war in the sky. That was not mentioned in it. So that's my opinion.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, there is an old prediction. I was just about to jump into it to see if I can get there. Don't forget, the Hopi Indians used to have in their prophecies talking about the man in the red hat. MAGA? Yeah, could be. You're muted. All right, there we go. How about that one? All right. I think we've about covered everything we have to go on the drone so far here today, unless there's something we haven't covered. I think I'm just go through all my notes and all the different stuff we've got going on. Well,
countries who allow...
I mean, you got the Russians saying we reserve the right to strike your bases, your weapons, your everything. Just try us. It was on November 27th. So we're just talking 2 days ago. Russia's threatening to strike the facilities of nations that have allowed Ukraine to strike its facilities. So this could really tie in to be something with Russia. But my God, the Russians, if they have the ability to move with impunity over our sensitive bases on the East Coast of the United States, like Langley, which is a big CIA airport for that one, my friend. And then you also have the stuff that's going on all over the United Kingdom. If that's the case, man, the Russians have really upped the game, and they have exposed a major hole in our air superiority and air defense capabilities over our bases. It's an interesting situation, to say the least, and it just keeps on getting interesting every single day it goes on.
Hey, Thomas, do you think they're prodding us to see our reaction?
Every single time.
Yep.
Take it in, try a little bit different, see what goes on. But what's crazy again, Brian, is if we definitely have the capabilities for tracking all this stuff, again, they should know where this stuff comes from and where it goes back to, and when they can see if it pops on the radar over here from this one location and they're getting it, they can go drive their cars to get to that location. So when the drone comes back, they can get the people and the drone. But that's not happening because they are beyond. Oh God, that's a sad fact that are potentially beyond our capabilities, Laura.
There's not much beyond capabilities these days. I suspect that they're launching them from the water, a ship, a submarine, and that's why the location close to water areas and their targets. So I would.
But then again, United Kingdom is an island.
Yeah.
Because if we bring it up and take a look, like you're saying, yeah, you're about 50 miles, give or take, to the water from these particular bases. But then again, you're talking about something that's going to be able to, well, 50 miles an hour. If you're going 100 miles an hour and you're 50 miles away, it's going to take 30 minutes for them to fly in to do their stuff, and then another 30 minutes to fly back out. But either way, they should be able to see where they're going to. And there should be more than enough migrant boats coming across the channel to be able to intercept these things.
Right. And I suspect that not only do we have drones that are able to be in the air, but also underwater. And that can be used for defensive purposes as well.
Yeah.
So this crazy stuff is going on all over. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it could be a distraction as well. You know, so it's multifaceted. So we're also seeing what the enemy does, but then they're like, watch this, pay attention to this while we're doing something else.
Let's go ahead and do a bunch of stuff over here when we're actually doing our nasty stuff over by Liverpool. Yeah, potentially. Andy W., you have your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, I will just say, you know, that the potential of these coming in from the sea, you know, you can sort of just about see on the map there, there's an awful lot of built up urban places around the coastline, you know, not just the major towns, but, you know, those coastal areas have a lot of smaller villages all around. So, you know, if these things are coming from the sea,
there is a lot of farmland around here, as you can see.
There's a lot of farmland, but it's pretty well populated as well. You know, it's not like, you know, some
you've got
parts
a town
of America
here
where
of Swatham, or
and
then you've got a bunch of land around it. Then you've got a little town called Sporle, and you've got another one here and there. So you're getting Little Durham. You've got a little bunch of little villages, I guess you'd call them.
Yeah,
in the areas and stuff, but there's
so
definitely, this is definitely a very rural area versus something you would say is really urban.
Yeah, but you know, if these things are going over, if people are aware, they're going to be out looking up at the sky. So
yeah,
you know, even on a sort of, you know, civilians are going to be able to sort of roughly pinpoint where these things are coming from.
Yeah, and there are some forests in the area, but again, it's not like it's, well, there's a decent-sized forest in that area, but overall, it's just a matter of trying to figure out, there's only so many places where these drones can go to, and there should be more than enough people to go ahead and track these things down, and no matter what it is. You know, I'd like to just find some kind of an answer, as I'm sure a lot of people in our audience would just go ahead and try and pin this down. Is this something, or is it not something? But where did that wonderful woman go? Where did she go? Miss her. Oh, here she is. Because, you know, we've got the person coming up to tell you it's just drones. Go away. You didn't see anything. Good old Susan Ford. Isn't she a beauty? Oh, my gosh. Gotta have fun with it.
Yes.
All right. I guess at this point we're going to go ahead and wrap this up and say I want to thank everybody for coming in to this episode of Disclosure tonight. More importantly, I want to thank our friends who came in and gave us some super chats tonight. Who am I talking about? I want to thank Eric Roth and the Gurus, Amiga Rules, FaZe Will, Anonymous Rex, and Daryl Zernick. Live long and prosper, my friend. More importantly, I want to thank our friends in the audience who have been part of this show tonight. If I can find the audience. Well, maybe not, because I've misplaced someone. I thank the audience for coming out here tonight. More importantly, see if I can find it. I bet you I can. I know it's here somewhere. Do the YouTube Live pop out? Ah, there it is. I want to go ahead and thank. Who do we have out there in the audience right now? Let me go ahead and take a look and see. We have had Ann Joanne, Bradley, Brian Pemble, Cypher, 1975, Daryl, Digger Dog, EcoJar. Remember, if you haven't subscribed yet, what the heck you waiting for? Do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Get us a like. Give us a subscribe. And if you haven't checked your bell yet, check it to make sure you're set up for all messages or notifications coming from Disclosure tonight, because we usually put out a scheduler show about 2 hours, give or take, before the podcast, and I'll help you to let you know that, hey, we're on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. How about that? Also want to thank Digger Dog, Echo Jar, Eli McGinnis, Firefly, Griff, Heiser Soze, Ian Watts Official, J-Cat, Kathy, Kelly Barote, his piercing blue eyes. King Bull, Little's been around, along with Marcus Mandel, Nathan Forrest, Brock, Neil Carr, Paul DeMond, Peggy and our South Florida friend, Pete Liebel, FaZe Will, Yankee 58, and the Dead Fish Cheese Spread. How about that? Well, thank everybody for coming out to tonight's episode of Disclosure tonight. But more importantly, thank you much, Eli McGinnis. Appreciate that super chat. I want to thank our friends in the back who came out today to hang out and talk about all good things UFOs. Who am I talking about? Andy, thank you very much for coming in tonight, my friend.
Yeah, my pleasure, Thomas. And, we may be on for an interesting few days still.
Yeah.
Who knows?
See what happens tomorrow, my friend.
Yeah, we will. I'll be here.
Yeah. Brian Pemble, thanks for coming out tonight, Brian.
Absolutely. Great show, Thomas. Thank you.
Yes. Laura Campbell, thanks for coming out.
Always a pleasure, Thomas. Thank you.
Neil Carr, thank you for being here, my friend.
Of course, it was wonderful being with you guys tonight.
Thank you very much. None of your business. Appreciate you being here.
Did you mean Susan Goff?
Hello, Susan Ford. Thanks for coming in, my dear lady. And then Syrup, thanks for your questions and comments tonight.
That was a good show tonight, Thomas.
Thank you very much. And as we usually say at the end of every episode of Disclosure tonight, sorry about that. Eyes open, no fear, be safe, everyone. But
Go back to Party City where you belong.
absolutely, we'll catch you on the flip side. Good night, everybody. See you tomorrow. Take care now. Bye-bye. Y'all come back now.